Hey folks, Dave here from the Six here, coming to you from the Hershey RV show, America's biggest RV show. I'm at the Flagstaff exhibit and we are looking at the E-Pros, and specifically we're looking at the Epro E13LE. And this is an exciting trailer because it's a real family floor plan, small lightweight trailer, and we are looking at an unloaded vehicle weight of 2296, and we are looking at a cargo capacity of 1488, a hitch weight of 284 pounds, and a length of 16 feet. But what really makes that exciting is that this trailer will actually sleep four. So we're going to do our usual. We are going to walk around the outside, then we'll take a look inside, then I'll do my pros and cons. Let's get started. All right, we'll start on the utility side of the E13LE. And we start with a large pass-through storage. And we'll take a look, we'll open it up on the other side so hopefully get a little bit more light. But loving that. Here we have our water fill for our fresh water tank. I'll put the size of that up on the screen. And then it looks like we've got an inlet and an outlet for a furnace here. And then we have our sewer outlet connection. And it says gray holding tank, but I can see we have both the gray and the black here. And I'm never crazy about them hanging down this low and also right behind the tire. So I would love to see a little bit of protection or maybe something that tucks up a little bit better. But nonetheless, there it is. We do have stabilizers on both the front and the rear. So here's the one on the rear, and you can see the one on the front up there as well. Nice off-road style tire. It looks like we got a steel wheel. So that's one of the ways they're probably keeping the price down. Got a 30 amp connection, and it's a separate cord set, which we like because obviously mice and bugs can't get in because there's no hole here. Here we are in the nose. This is an economical floor plan, so we've got a manual tongue jack. Of course, you could always upgrade at your dealer if you wanted to. We have a single 20-pound propane tank, and we have a single battery. Do see our emergency brake disconnect as well. And we have a sort of diamond plate kind of composite material here to protect the front of the trailer from rocks and so on. Nice fiberglass cap on this trailer. You can see that we do have an awning that's pretty much the full length of the 16-foot trailer, so it's probably about 13 or 14 feet long. So loving that. That's covering the door and the whole campsite. You can see that the door is being held here by just your standard plastic holder. Just going to open that up so we can take a look inside of this storage. And really love this huge pass-through storage. I mean, that's just a tremendous amount of space there. You can also see that this is an aluminum structure on this trailer, so loving to see that. We've got composite walls as well. We do have plywood and wood in the floor, but otherwise a lot of composites, so appreciating that for sure. And that's one of the ways they're delivering this super lightweight, but plenty of space in here. And the only problem is, of course, this is right at the front of the trailer, so you are going to add to your tongue weight if you really load that up with heavy items. See, we have another stabilizer here as well, and we have a solid step, another one of those off-road tires with steel wheel, and we have another small storage, which is really nice. Don't often get a second one, but there it is. Good amount of space. It's going to be able to keep all of your your electrical cables and your wheel chocks and all that kind of stuff. It's a nice little spot for it for sure. We do have an LP quick disconnect right down here. And of course we have our stabilizers on this side as well. There's our hot water heater, and it looks like it's a tanked unit. And coming around to the back, we have the city water connection and an antifreeze inlet. So I guess that's something to do with winterizing the trailer. And I'm just gonna come around this sign here. We also have a trailer hitch. It's a 2-inch, so it looks pretty heavy duty. And actually it says the maximum capacity is 300 pounds. So you think you put your bikes back here, you could balance that out by loading up that front storage compartment. They've got this nice little poster here that covers some of the features of this trailer, so just going to go through them. 6-sided aluminum framing with aluminum dinettes, bed and bunk, complete composite wall construction, 1-piece vacuum laminated roof with high density block foam insulation, 5/8 tongue and groove flooring, 1-piece seamless flooring, on the 13LE, which is the one we're looking at. Dexter leaf spring axles with easy lube and Moiride solid steps. And just looking at it though, I'd love to see if we could get rid of that plywood and that wood and use a composite, but looks like they're at least trying to give us a more premium composite construction through good chunks of this trailer. And let's head inside the Epro E13LE. And we'll start coming up the solid steps. We do have a grab handle, as you can see, and just give you the lay of the land. So on the right, we have a 54 by 74 inch bed. So that's our main bed. You can see the air conditioner and the kitchen are right across from the door. Plenty of counter space. And we have a bathroom in the back corner. And then right to the left of the door, we have two 26 by 73 inch bunks. So really appreciating that these bunks are 73. So we're getting just a hair over 6 feet on these. So you're going to be able to sleep your bigger kids. They don't have a capacity listed for the top bunk. But the way we would probably do it is put the heavier kid at the bottom and the lighter kid at the top. So let's take a look in a little bit more detail. So coming around to the front of the trailer, and you can see we have our TV backer prep along with the plug here. I don't see a cable plug here though, which is interesting. And I didn't see one outside either. We do have a shelf up top, not cabinets though, but you'd be able to store your bedding there during the day and so on. And then of course we have that 54 by 74 inch bed. You can see that we have blackout blinds here for the windows, which is always nice. And let's take a look underneath the bed. And so it doesn't look like they're giving us access to that pass-through from inside. However, what we are getting is a nice little nook here where you could put your shoes and so on, although it's not super deep. I wouldn't mind if that was just just deep enough to put your shoes in. That would be awesome. All right, so let's spin around. We've got a wall-mounted air conditioner. Some people aren't too keen on these, but one nice thing about it is that if you did have a problem, they're probably going to be easier to get a replacement because it's kind of a standard size and all that kind of stuff. We do have cabinets up top here for the kitchen. And good size. They're definitely, I would say, just deep enough for dinner plates. There's the plug for the microwave, of course, or the air conditioner, actually. And you can see that we're wired for solar on this trailer and a maximum of 30 amps, so with those wires. We have the Coleman Mac AC controller here, and we have the tank monitors, and also your battery monitor, water pump switch, and then your water heater control right here. So very simple, nicely laid out, everything in one spot, conveniently close to the bathroom and the kitchen sink. And we have a decent sized sink. For this kind of trailer, actually, it's a very good size. It's not residential size, but it's definitely big enough to do the job. We do have just a regular faucet here. I guess this unit is winterized, hence the balloon coming out of it. We do have a Suburban glass top stove. So you're going to be able to use that as counter space when you're not using the stove. And then, of course, lift it up. And plenty of counter space. So, a 16-foot trailer that sleeps 4, to have this much counter space, I'm really appreciating that setup. This is a common floor plan, of course. And then taking a look at the fridge, and we do have a 12-volt fridge here. It's a good size. It's a little bit bigger than a typical fridge that goes underneath a countertop. So, you've got 3 shelves on the door and a good size of fridge there as well. And then we have our microwave, and just a regular microwave, not an air fryer. And then below that, we have a very nice sized cabinet. So excellent size there for sure. And you can see there's our furnace, and we have some drawers, or actually that's just a spot to put your sponge and maybe some soap. And then you've got one drawer, small drawer. So there's not a huge amount of storage in this trailer. I'm kind of thinking of where I would put my clothes, and I'm coming up a little bit blank. Now this bunk does fold up. So I guess you can use this area to store something tall if you wanted to. Not really sure why you need the bunk to fold up, to be honest with you, but again, I'm really appreciating though that these are 26 by 73. So that is a very good size for a trailer of this type. And just also, you know what, if you have a really tall kid like I do, you can even hang his feet off the end of this one. It's got a ladder, which is something you also don't always see when you get these types of bunks. So, all right, let's take a look inside of the bathroom. And so we don't have a sink in here, but we do have a toilet. It's nicely centered, so elbow room should be fine on both sides. We'll check that in a second. And the shower is quite raised. So, and although we have a skylight, I'm a little concerned about headroom in here. So let's check it out. This is just a mirror here. Hello. And it is not a medicine cabinet. And we do have a plug, however, and we do have a light switch on the wall, which is always nice so you're not fumbling for the one on the actual light itself. All right, let's do the size test. We'll start by just sitting on the toilet and see how we do. And so I do have enough leg room to close the door, so that's good. And a decent amount of elbow room, not massive, but it definitely is enough to get the job done. Now let's try out the shower. So I'm just going to kick off my boots here. And so I'm exactly 6 feet tall. I do have a ball cap on, so maybe that makes me 6'1", but I've taken my shoes off, so whoops, lost you guys there for a second. And so my head is just about touching the top of the skylight. Let's get rid of the hat. And yeah, it's touching. So 6 feet is about the maximum that you're going to be able to do here in order to take a shower. And if you're shorter than 6 feet though, no problem at all. And if you're 6'2" or 6'3", you're gonna have to bend your neck a little bit in order to do it. 16-foot trailer though, with a weight around 2,300 pounds. We're definitely giving the bathroom a thumbs up though, because a dry bath in a small trailer like this that sleeps 4 people, I think is awesome. So heating and ventilation, we've got, of course, the wall-mounted air conditioner, which we already showed you. And then down below the sink, we have our furnace. What we don't have is any kind of fan on the roof of this trailer. I'd love to see a fantastic fan included up here, but we do have an exhaust fan and it's in the bathroom, and I just want to show you that one. It's not a fantastic fan or a max air fan, but nonetheless, at least you're going to be able to get some air moving using this particular fan here. So, but I'd love to see a fantastic fan on the roof of this camper. One more thing it's worth pointing out is, in terms of windows, we just have the one here, and I'll just spin around. We don't have one on the other side of the bed, the main bed, but we do have one on the other side of the camper right here at the bunk. So I wouldn't mind seeing another window up top so that you can get some ventilation on both bunks. So ventilation might not be the best here. I, again, really wish that they'd included that fantastic fan on this trailer. Let's talk price. I wasn't able to find an MSRP, but I did see dealer web prices ranged from $15,500 to $16,000 in US dollars at the time of filming. Next up is pros and cons, and as always, we'll start with the pros. My first pro is the reasonable weights of this trailer. At only 2,296 pounds for a dry weight with a hitch weight of 284 pounds, this trailer is very towable. The 1,488 pounds of cargo capacity also means that the weight of full tanks won't be an issue. My second pro is the longish bunks. It's not often that we get bunks that are over 6 feet, so I'm happy to see it here. My final pro is the generous outside storage. With a large pass-through and a smaller outside compartment, it's got room for all your chairs, tents, and RVing gear. However, storage brings me to my first con, which is a lack of inside storage. This trailer is crying out for a cabinet over the main bed and perhaps drawers under the bed. My second con is the lack of a standard solar panel to pair with the 12-volt fridge. At least a 200-watt panel is optional, and I hope dealers order it 100% of the time. My final con is ventilation challenges. With only a basic exhaust fan in the bathroom, no fantastic or max air fan in the main trailer, and no range hood over the stove, plus a lack of windows, I can see boondocking ventilation being a challenge in this rig. Overall, it would be a great starter trailer for somebody who plans to camp at parks with electrical hookup. It's not an ideal boondocking machine given the 12-volt fridge, lack of solar, and lack of a powerful ceiling fan. What do you think? Would you hold out for a camper with more windows and features? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see another affordable bunkhouse floor plan, click the link on the screen. Thanks for watching and take care.